Like, let's
very
be real. Okay, so earlier I read like about like animals and us, like like the distinction between like animals and human beings of like consciousness and psychology wise.
okay.
And it's um like every psychologist has just like questioned whether animals have minds capable of thought or if they're just a mechanism based off reflex. So when you're teaching your dog these tricks, are they learning these tricks off reflex or do they actually have the thoughts and capability of like a human being and they just can't speak? And like psychology is based off of like human experience experiments and like animal experiments. So they take animals and they experiment on them and on their brains and they say, "Oh, this is how the human brain works."
That's really scary, honestly, because I was talking to my doctor about how pharmaceuticals are made, and pharmaceuticals, I was like, well, from my understanding of pharmaceuticals, most pharmaceuticals are made from naturally derived things.
Okay.
And well, anything is made from like a naturally derived thing. Like a
Obviously.
house is built
Yeah,
from
you have to
like wood.
any
Yeah,
material you make is based off natural materials. You have
yeah,
to make
natural resource.
unnatural resources from natural resources. So
Yeah,
thus everything technically is natural.
it's
It's just
just
how
processed.
natural is it?
Yeah, it's just what we do to it. It's
It's just how much hasn't been ran through. Just like how much has your
basically
girl been ran through? You know what I mean? Like it's the same
basically
thing.
I mean it gets pretty beat up, but that's why a tree can last 100 years and a house can last 30 because the wood is like processed differently. But what we were talking about with these pharmaceuticals is that estrogen is derived from hormone. I don't know if like a lot of people know that, but the chemical estrogen that is like found in most females and males um is derived from a horse, and like we got really deep in it, and it's crazy, but like I don't normally like get this like deep with my doctor, but she told me that estrogen is derived a certain pharmaceutical company, I don't remember the exact name or anything like that, but they use horse urine and they process it somehow. I don't know the exact scientific way they do it. It's all science, you know. It's broken down, it's heated up, it's everything's molecularized. Like science can go on for 1,000 different topics, but we're not going to dive into that today. But anyways, it was just so crazy that she told me that, and like certain pills are made from like certain plants and stuff, and it's just like plants are living. Plants are living things.
Yeah, plants are
Like,
living things.
do plants have a soul? I don't know
See,
if
that's the
animals
weird
have a
thing
soul. Do
because
animals have a brain? We know that they have a brain for sure, but can they process the same things that humans do?
like do they have that thought process?
Yeah, like we have a pituitary gland. We are so complexly
See,
developed.
this is where things got weird when I was like studying the other like today actually. It says every living thing has oh hold on where like fuck
You got this.
uh every living thing has an inner experience. So if
Okay.
every living thing has an inner experience, they have a conscience like we do. Because an inner experience is a conscience. Like it's you have a conscience, you have a thought in the back of your head of
Yeah.
what's happening and it's you processing what you're seeing. But plants don't have eyes. But do they think like, "Oh, I can feel the wind?" If they're a living organism, if they can grow, a living thing grows, right?
Well, of course they're gonna feel the elements and everything that's around them.
Yeah, so are they living? If they're a living thing, do they have a conscience? Does this plant that you're watering have a conscience? Is it in love with you like your dog is in love with you, dude? Because it has every living thing has a conscience. That's what psychology says.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that I think I don't even know, like, we're diving into a topic that's so deep that it's just like we could talk for hours about this, but like we live on planet Earth, and I think a lot of people are distracted by things around them in planet Earth, but sometimes you just got to let go and live the experience that's around you.
Facts.
You know, like there's different things on this earth that we have to decipher, that we go through, that it's challenges. It's like if everything was rainbows and butterflies, life would be boring. If I'm being completely honest, because there has good and evil, like we were talking about earlier, goes hand in hand with each other. If everything was good all the time, there'd be, yeah,
Everything live. If
exactly.
I didn't experience all of the bad things, if you didn't experience all these bad things, if everybody around us didn't experience
Yeah,
all these bad things that they were going through, they
all the
wouldn't know what
trials
the
and
good is.
tribulations.
And you see, I let go of all these bad things so easily. Like it's like bad things get thrown at me and I'm like, "Oh, whatever." That's why I
Yeah,
get so much of it is because
you have to be able to let go of
yeah.
that.
And it's crazy because once you learn how to let go of it, it more and more comes at you and more just keeps testing you and is like, oh, how much of this are you actually going to let go? How much of this can we actually throw at you? But
Yeah,
it's like, how am I going to know what's good if I don't know what's bad?
exactly. That's why life is such an experience. Then you might be like overwhelming me with all this information
Sorry.
and stuff. No, you're good. But like that's just the beauty of this life.
Yeah.
It's an experience. I feel like I'm looking up to you right now. Like I'm so excited to be a part of this podcast because I feel like it's definitely gonna go places. And I feel like right now you were talking about it had last time I talked to you, it had 7 viewers.
Mm-hmm.
That's not much,
No.
especially when we know that the world has millions of
Yeah.
people in it,
Millions.
hundreds of millions. And
Millions.
I just think that we wouldn't have been given this information and this knowledge
If it
if
was only
there
supposed to
wasn't a
reach.
God.
Yeah.
We have to be able to have that balance, to be able to get rid of stuff, and to be able to hang on to stuff, but hang on to the good information. It's all a balance. Like it's so crazy that
It's crazy to think when you know God, you're able to distinguish all of the good that you can get from these tasks, all of these like lessons, because like all of these bad things come into everybody's life, but there's certain people who could take everything good and the lesson out of this bad thing, and there's people who just take the bad out of it.
yeah,
And there's people
exactly.
who are like, oh my God, I need to solve this problem right now, right here, and I need to understand what's going on at this exact moment. Or there's people that are like, oh my God, this is a lesson, and I just need to feel my way through this, and God's going to handle it for me, and God's going to solve this problem for me, and I just need to understand what I need to learn from this because one day I'm going to need to teach somebody
And now that we're older, I feel like back in high school we weren't that
this.
close.
Mm-mm.
But like now that we're older, I feel like our brains are at the point like that we're connecting. Like it's so weird that we know some things and we don't know other
Yeah.
things, but with God, I feel like I know everything.
See, and I wasn't this like I didn't know all of these things when like I first met you and when we first like became knowledgeable about like each other's existence.
Yeah.
I didn't know all of the things I knew now, but if we hadn't known of each other then, we wouldn't be sitting here in this living room right now talking about all of this fucking shit.
Yeah, if we wouldn't have just said like, "Hey, what's up, brother? What's
Like,
up,
hey, what's your
sister?"
name?
Yeah. And we didn't even have to be in
No.
person nowadays, like with the internet being so accessible and
Yeah.
like being accessible to the other side. Like I don't know, like things are just so complicated. That's why I have a lot of respect for the Egyptians. Like I talk about the Egyptians a lot,
Yeah, you
but
really
like they are one of the oldest people and
do.
civilizations that are similar
This is
to
how you know
us.
I'm drunk. This is
I just
insane.
knew.
This is crazy.
No, yeah, this is crazy. It's diving deep. The information that we're breaking
You're
through.
talking about it.
I feel like even that thunder we heard earlier, like that was God. Like I was even thinking earlier, like to myself, like when I was driving up in the car, this life experience that I'm experiencing, I'm living in the present moment, and everything that I've been given to visualize and to hear and see, the senses that I've been able to physically endure, I I am so knowledgeable.